the total amount on West interest is about 4.75 billion. And then the
Right.
total amount in commitment fee is about 1.5 billion. And the
Right.
projects that I can just write, and you will speak to it some more, is like the Mombasa Mariakani Highway, which was done by
Right.
Kenha.
Yeah.
They incurred about 35 million in commitment fee
Right.
because the loan was disbursed on time. And
Right.
what they would attribute to is things like, oh, it took a while longer to finish purchase of right of way for them to do construction. And then
Right.
if you go to areas like Southern Kenol, Sagana Marua, equally they incurred about 24,992, 420, basically that as
Yeah.
commitment fee for delay
Yeah.
in usage of the loan. And
Right.
then finally, I will point to Kisii, not the Kisii one, the Bagamoyo, Hororo, and Sewage system, where
Right.
about 1.5 billion, not
Yeah.
million,
Yeah.
1.5 billion was paid commitment fee
Mm-hmm.
because that money was
Yeah.
never used. So
Yeah.
basically, just before coming to speak on commitment fee, you
Mm-hmm.
get into a loan
Mm-hmm.
and the requirement is you're supposed to use that amount
Yeah.
and you're supposed to use by a certain time.
Right.
If you do not use amount or use that amount by a certain time, then you're
Right.
going to incur certain charges. So, and
Yeah.
that is what we are calling commitment fees. And that is what Kenya has been paying significantly. And
Right.
if you look at the other amount, which is interest on delayed payments, you
Right.
subcontract someone, you are supposed to pay them by a period, let's say 30 days after they've submitted their invoice or completed the
Right.
works, but you do not pay within that period, and then they
Yeah.
charge interest.
Right.
So please, Bonnie,
So
speak to that.
yeah. So I mean, look. Let me start off by saying that um, you know, everybody knows. I talked about. We talk about the issue of corruption. I think everyone understands the danger that is corruption to our country, and people know that.
Yes.
Although we have a government right now, in my view, that is not serious about tackling corruption, even though we know that we need to fight it. Generally speaking, citizens do have a recourse when corruption takes place. Maybe in the future we'll have a government that takes that seriously, and we can take people to court. There's hope that maybe we can recover some of these losses. The problem with incompetence is that there's no
Yes.
recourse for it, right? So some of the stuff that you're gonna hear today, it is painful because you know that it would not have happened if it wasn't for incompetence, and yet citizens have no recourse, right? So when you
Yes.
hear I mean, we've been talking about in this country of wanting to be Singapore. We've been talking about, the president is telling us that he needs 4.5 trillion to move Kenya to Singapore, right? So you look at what a country like Singapore did to be able to become what it is. Singapore didn't become Singapore by wishing. Singapore did certain things that made sure that it became Singapore. And one of those things is to treat
Yes.
the taxpayer resources seriously, to be prudent in
Yes.
terms of how you use those resources, to make sure that you don't waste resources, to treat
Yes.
every bit of currency that you have as if it was the last one that you have, right? That's what
Mm.
Singapore did to
Mm.
be able to get to where it got. So when we are talking about what's
Mm.
happening today, and I just want to mention some of these examples of pure incompetence. In other words, if we didn't have people that are incompetent in government, we would not be incurring those losses. And so as I give you some of these examples, I want people to think about last month and a half or so, I was talking about this kid from my home county of Kiambu who stayed home because he could not get 100,000 that he needed to be able to report to Egerton for school, right? 20-year-old kid, he needs 100,000 to be able to realize his dream, 100,000 a year. Okay, so I want Kenyans to think about
Mm.
Owen, who needs 100,000. As I give you these examples, I want you to imagine how many people that we are talking about, right? That could be
Yes.
served if we didn't have incompetence.